Good evening to everybody. I'm just going to say hello from here and then I'm going to sit because I had a health problem recently, so I have to sit the rest of the time. My presentation will be about the activity of our building materials laboratory of the architecture school and activity concerning the education, the research, and case studies in Greece, always about new buildings with old materials. Okay, so the key word is education, and I'm going to start with this, presenting our work in the School of Architecture, National Technical University. The laboratory is about materials, but when we study a structure, the study has to be holistic. We have to study the material, but we also have to study in different scales the architectural units, the roofs, the walls, the building, how all these are connected to each other, and the super mega scale, which is how even they interact with the surroundings. So it's a circular methodology. It goes from one to the other and going back. And so in our university, we have undergraduate courses, because in order to go to the future, we have to look at the past. So we study existing buildings in our country, learning from them. And we can find that ingenious systems that can surprise us as modern engineers, who in many cases realize that we discover, though have many modern tools, something that has been discovered hundreds of years back and it's lost. So there is a lot of hidden knowledge, and we try with our students to work on that, having courses, several courses in the School of Architecture, studying previous buildings in different semesters, as you see here. And of course, it is about timber, stone, and earth. We have a long tradition, especially the last centuries, 1519, during Ottoman Empire. The structures that we have from earth are timber-framed walls filled with wood and earth, or adobe masonry reinforced with timber lacings. In Greece, we don't have round earth. We don't have the other systems. These are the systems that we have. Masonry, either from stones or sun-dried bricks, reinforced for what? With timber lacings for what? For earthquake. Because we are maybe the most earthquake hazard area in Europe. And that's why in our area there are adobe structures with all these timber elements that reinforce them in order to withstand the forces of earthquake. And you see these elements that are found in almost all cases, as here in this work of our students, or here. And these are structures that are about the 20th, 19th century after Christ. But if we go 4,000 years back, 2000 before Christ, in Malia, in Minoan era, in pro-palatial period, they're still there in Crete, settlement, not houses, buildings that are built with earth, with adobe. Still standing, one story. This is in Malia. We work on this topic. We collaborate in a research program with the French universities and the archaeological French School of Archaeology in a project called TIMMA, Timber in Minoan and Mycenaean Architecture. My PhD was about the use of timber in Minoan era. So for me it was a great pleasure to work on that. And we work and try to understand how these constructions work together: stone, mudbrick, and timber. So we decided, in a collaboration of TIMMA project and another program from the French School of Archaeology and Paris, University of Paris Sorbonne, to construct a Minoan experimental house like it was built 4,000 years ago, studying what has been left, the timbers, and I'm going to say anything about the timbers, I'll only say about the mud bricks. Here is the building of mud bricks, preparing the mud bricks, the stone foundation, the walls, the timber reinforcements, the window, timber window frame, the earthen part of the roof. Here it was a workshop that was done in Malia two summers ago. See here, preparing and working, putting the timber reinforcements in masonry, working on the window and frame construction using Bronze Age tools in order to understand better the techniques, trying to assemble the timber parts, and the last part, the horizontal roof with the traditional way, which still exists from the Minoan era till now. It's the same exactly system. And here the plasters, and several people have worked on that. You see their names, and many, many enthusiastic archaeologists and architects during this workshop. Now I'm going to present a little bit our building materials laboratory and the courses that we do on materials. We try to do the theory, of course, always the properties of the materials connected with the final use, because otherwise we would be physicians or chemistry engineers. We are not. We are architects, engineers, and also, except theory, we try to, our students work also with the material. Here you see preparing concrete. And there is another course for special topics in building materials, focusing on natural materials and environmental impact and sustainability of building materials. Mrs. Bougatiotti, Dr. Bougatiotti is responsible for this, the main, how can I say, professor who is responsibility of this course. We are teaching also, and we're focusing on natural materials, and an experimental project of this course is to work on, in our laboratory, several examples like this, preparing mud bricks, preparing light clay, preparing round earth blocks, and then when we have time, testing all these samples for their mechanical properties. With our laboratory, we support projects from other courses, as in this case, which is architectural and natural disasters. We supervise research projects of our students. This is a project for round earth and adobe structure. These are drawings of our student when he was studying this, when they were preparing this research. They're original. Other research works, actually the last 2-3 years, we have more research work on earth and on timber. That's really good news. So another project from our students about earth and how we can build with earth, and especially with compressed earth blocks. And another interesting research project of Katerina Kannelopoulou. She is here, I think, and working again on clay. And she had a very nice idea. She had a questionnaire asking 130 people about earth constructions, and the results were really, really interesting. Well, they're very small, I can't see much, but anyway, not many people know about it, but 70% of them think that they could think about it if they know better, if they know that they can build with, how can I say, in standards. If you tell them that you will use standards, they're really thinking in order to build with something that they don't really know, but they start to understand that it's something that have to take into consideration from now on for the climate, for other reasons, and they have to work on. Another interesting research work also is of two of our students, Virginia and Prokop. Virginia is here, I see her. Working on an area, we have a lot of mudbrick structures in Western Macedonia. They went there for several days working and recording the villages and the constructional methods of these old villages, the typology. These are undergraduate studies of the buildings and of the construction techniques. And of course, all these areas, we're losing them because little by little, because they are neglected, they get back to the earth. And discussing this, another research project we did last year was with a student of ours, Konstantinos Psychas. He's here too. He made a research for his area that he is coming from Thessaly, that was hit by the Daniel storm, and almost 80% of the adobe buildings have been destroyed. And yes, actually, if we neglect them, if we don't take good care of them, we lose them. This is another project, is a postgraduate study of Michalis Prodromou. He worked in this area again. He's a civil engineer. These are pictures of distance in time 2-3 years. Not because they are vulnerable, it's because we don't protect them. We don't have to not to get this message. And these are a work of Michalis trying to calculate these structures, and also we made thermal and mechanical experiments on existing adobe blocks. Another diploma thesis, a student of ours brought us clay from India in order to see if it is suitable clay, because you know not every clay is suitable, you have to check it. So he can make a research, a diploma thesis about a school, to design a school in India. We checked it in our laboratory, and unfortunately we found out that was not the right case, but anyway, he designed a building for a school with other materials that were possible to be found in that area. It was steel and brick. Going again to a postgraduate thesis of Christos Kyriakougonas. Christos is here, was also yesterday in our laboratory helping us. He's doing a research work, a diploma thesis for the determination of physical and mechanical characteristics of stabilized round Earth. Going to PhD that are going on, Vangelitsa Papalexandratou is working on mechanical and thermal behavior of new adobe buildings and structure, testing the different synthesis of the mixture, putting more straw or less straw, and comparing the thermal and the mechanical behavior, because when you put more straw and you have better thermal behavior, you lose mechanical behavior. So she tries to see to research this balance. Nikiforos Meimaroglu He's here too, working on raw earth mortars. He's a civil engineer with Professor Mouzakis. And he was helping us. He's a part of Greenest project too. Another PhD, very interesting, from Vana Georgala, is the assessment and evaluation of thermal and environmental behavior of new house built by light clay in Volos. Vana has already built it some years ago, her house. It's the only house of light clay in Greece in an urban environment. It's in a city. That's very rare. It has a timber skeleton. Vana has been working on collecting state-of-the-art standards on zero-emission buildings built with natural materials, focusing, of course, on light clay. See here some pictures from the construction. And the final result, actually her PhD is about monitoring the temperature and humidity inside and outside of the building for a long time, since she is the owner of the building. So we can have a full-scale experiment in real living conditions about also healthy buildings, so it's measuring, it's observing, and it's feeling also. That has to be incorporated in her work. Except all this, we try to organize hands-on educational workshops. This is a workshop that has been organized several years ago for our students or for other professionals that are interested in this kind of techniques. You see, if you get in touch with a subject, that's when you start loving it. That's why it's the heart in the right side. So we think it's really, really important, all this effort that has this hands-on attitude. And these are some pictures from what happened yesterday in our laboratory in the frame of the Greenest program. Our students of one of the courses that I presented to you before had to come in the laboratory. We had 5 groups of 7 students that worked on 2 groups were working on producing a light clay panel with the help of our colleagues from Pilico. This is in our laboratory. This is the other light clay panel. Another group produced light clay blocks. You see there, and Christos and our students. Here are the results of the clay blocks and the clay panel. Another group worked on plasters, as you see here. And another group with our colleagues from Germany on earth screed, this system that they just showed you before, about the system of ceiling or floor with the laminated timber, but laminated with dowels, not glue, and a part of earth on top of it. You see it on the right. It's like putting a cake. It's very nice, you see, over there. And what was really interesting, it was that they were really happy doing it. Working, actually, I want to thank Greenest and our colleagues and Professor Fund that gave us the opportunity to give to our students the opportunity to work and have this experience. What else we do is to collaborate as a laboratory or a National Technical University with non-profit organizations, again, helping them with lectures and on-site, with hands-on educational workshops like Cultural Heritage Without Borders, in restoration camps in Balkans. With Pilico, it's a long and old collaboration with educational programs. With Buluki, another non-profit organization, with Buluki also we have Σύμφωνος Συνεργασίας. We have a memorandum of collaboration with our laboratory. They can use our laboratory in order to make all the experiments that is needed to accompany their field work. It's very important. They have done a very interesting program. It's called Under the Landscape in Thiracia, in Santorini, working there with the ash of the volcano, which is very important for mortars, as you know. And this project was to rebuild also the dry stone path leading to the settlement church, and to repair 2 underground water harvesting tanks connected to the footpath. So on-site work, but not only on-site work, also work on the laboratory. It's important in order to give future to these structures. They need the scientific part. Not we gather together and just do some workshops. We need, as educational institutions or research institutions, it's our duty to support this scientifically. So this research involved interviewing senior craftspeople who still remembered how to collect the raw materials, so they gathered the information from them, and they came to the laboratory, and this information was transformed in a scientific way and checked all the results. You see some of their work here, and for thermal conductivity tests, for mechanical testing. And of course, the material is not only the case. It's not only to find what is the right composition of the material. The way you work with the material is very important, not only for the appearance, but also for the mechanical properties, for the physical properties. So the old building techniques are also important, as are the old materials. This is some of the final result of their work on site in Thiracia, in Santorini. And of course, it was very interesting that through this collaboration, a manual for the building techniques of Thira was produced. It's free, in Greek, of course, on the internet, so everybody can download it and use it. Buluki was honored with the Europa Nostra Award this year in September. It was given to them during a workshop that we had in September in my homeland, in Epirus. That's where they're based there, in Tsoumerka. It was a workshop about timber structure. That's, I like that. So what was the idea is to restore and reuse an old timber roof and transform it in a part of it and produce a second level, a middle level of floor, as you see here. Now we are trying to reinforce and restore the old roof systems here with craftsmen, local craftsmen. A lot of people worked there. Also calculations have been done there from Mr. Prodromou. And you see here a part of the work. And of course, it was their intention was to reuse as much as they could from the original timber structure. A small project that I had the honor to do, to study, it was one of the few cases of using old timbers in Greece. It was these timbers that were belonged to a very important structure, I can't tell you which, and it was cut and ready to become wood for the fire. So I asked the owner of this area to buy it and clean it and use it again in order to make another roof. And this is the roof in this area in Queen's Tower in Ilion in Greece. You can see also calculations and that support this new structure. We work also with architects. We help as a laboratory for their projects. We worked with Spiros Karagiannis. He is here too. He is, I think, the only one who has built a small round earth wall in Greece, in a kindergarten, you see here, and he came to our laboratory in order to define the type of the soil, to see if it is okay, and all these things. So Nikiforos, you see him there, looking at the sample, and this construction was delivered and got several prizes. Another work that I have been involved is a collaboration with Zeta Chrysafaki for Piliko in order to design and construct a house with light clay in Chania, but Zeta will show you later details on it. I will finish with another architectural project with natural materials that I had I had a happy collaboration with the architect Panos Papadopoulos. He's here too. It is a house with a timber frame as a structural system and straw bales. It is built in Aegina. It's an island near Athens. Panos Papadopoulos is here for any questions you want. I will show you quickly this project. This is the one I will finish. The straw bales, the architectural study, the structural study. A lot of connections had to be designed. The foundation, concrete small slab and belt over the stone foundation, the timber frame with a lot of diagonal elements because we are in a seismic area. We try to have standardization of the connections and of the sections. So we try to use only 10 by 10. So everywhere you could use 10 by 10 except some beams. And also the connections had to be of specific design in order in every inclination to be easy to put. So you don't have to change connections. One connections for everywhere. So even in cases that we needed a bigger column, we made them from many small pieces of 10 by 10 in order everything to be easier in the construction. It was built. It is, you see, almost two-story buildings with 2 carpenters in 16 days, and they had 2 workers to help them. You see here and here. And then the wall started to be built by straw bales. Their anchorage on the concrete ring, here and here, and here outside and inside. Of course, all the plumbing, electricity have to be installed in these cases. The windows and the plaster. There was the problem. Always the plaster is the problem in these cases. It has to be perfect in order to work. The different stages of the plastering. And the final result. I think using and building with natural materials is connected with a better future for our children, and this is for many, many reasons. I'm really happy that this project is going on, and I'm looking forward for some real results. Thank you.